Welcome to Page to Picture, the podcast where books come to life on screen and in conversation. I am your host, Kim, and today I am flying solo as my co-host, Tiff, is tending to family priorities. But do not worry, because we've got a fantastic episode ahead. Joining me is Meagan Kaye, the author of the, I hope I say this right, Aurelian Seas?
Aurelian Seas series,
Oh.
yeah. Close enough.
A romantic fantasy adventure full of pirates, curses, and slow burn chemistry. And when she's not reading, writing, or chasing after her little ones, you will probably find her curled up with a hot cup of tea and an episode of Grey's Anatomy. Meagan, I am so excited to have you here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited as well. I mean, you pretty much covered everything. I've got two littles, and I like to drink tea and watch Grey's Anatomy. That's me in a box.
I love that. I really wish Tiff was on here because she is a diehard Grey's Anatomy fan. I am not, because I can't handle anything that's like hospital related. I get like freaked out by it.
I get that.
So, but that's her loss. Well. Okay, so before we dive into your book series, we always like to get to know the author. So what is your origin story? Like, what inspired you to become a writer?
It's just always been a part of me. I don't remember a time when I wasn't writing, other than, before I knew how to. And even then, it was just constantly stories with toys and things like that. I do remember it was back in late 90s, early 2000s, where not everybody had a computer in the house. And so obviously I used notebooks, but my neighbor was moving. It was a sweet older couple. And so they gave me their old computer. I don't even remember what kind of computer it was, but obviously didn't have internet or anything, but I was on that constantly. Just as soon as they gave it to me, I was just typing.
Typing stories away.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah.
So is this series your first like official series that you've released out?
Yeah. So this is my debut. From Stardust is the first one. It's my debut book. Yeah, and it was a long time coming. It took me 11 years to write that book.
Really?
Yeah, because I started it when I was younger, and I had a lot of like works in progress, but it was always like a couple chapters here and a couple chapters there. And so this idea sparked, and I was just so excited about it. And I was like, you know what? If I want to get something done, I need to focus on just one. And that was the one.
You're like, I have so many ideas that I need to like narrow it down to just one for the moment.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that a lot. Characters are obviously important in stories. So how do you develop your characters? Do they come to you first, or does like sometimes the plot dictate who they are, or sometimes you're like writing a story and then all of a sudden you have a random character that just ended up coming in, and then he or she is just there?
Yeah, it's definitely more of that. They just kind of pop up for me. So when I start a book, it always starts with the characters. I have two characters in my mind, and some type of, usually a situation or a scene, and just vibes, really. And so I start it from there and just follow them through. And so I feel bad because people ask me this a lot, and I'm like, I don't really plan the character development. It just kind of, they do it on their own.
What flow? You know what? I actually love that, because the characters in both of your stories, all your characters, they flow so well in the story, and it's not like random where you're just like, what is this character doing here? Like, he or she did not need to be here. But they all flow so well, and you have a connection with every character, and I feel like every character, there's a purpose for them in your stories. So I think you did it very well. So
I'm so happy
sometimes a structured like layout of like, I have 5 characters, this is going to be it. Sometimes that just doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
It just it's based on the author. That's
it's so funny you say that, because in the first book, From Stardust, before Lillian meets the pirates, she's aboard a Navy ship, and there's a couple of characters on there that I just love, and they obviously don't continue out through the story because she leaves them to go to the pirates. But it was the cook aboard the Navy ship, Chuck, and then her kind of a friend, Jeremy. And they're two of my favorite, especially Chuck. And my editor was actually like, you need to combine these characters. There's no reason to have both of them. And I was like, I can't do that.
You're like, no, they're separate. They are separate characters. No, I love them both.
Yeah, yeah. So instead, I just kind of took some of the advice on why she thought I should combine them, and I went back and I rewrote both of their parts to make sure they had a very distinct, um,
Oh, I love
separate,
that.
way forward.
Yeah. No, I love that because they are their own characters. I mean,
Yes.
I feel like that works out for
Yeah.
them. I
Yeah.
mean, it works out for them, but is there any characters in either your first book or your second book that wasn't planned or really wasn't supposed to be there and it's like a fan favorite? I find that often in a lot of books that I've read. A lot of authors are like, that character was never supposed to show up,
Yeah.
or they were supposed to die off like chapter one and they ended up
Yeah.
being a fan favorite. Do you have one like that?
It's kind of the opposite situation. With Jeremy, my beta readers, a couple of them were really upset that he didn't continue through, and
Yeah.
one even was like, "We need to start the hashtag Justice for Jeremy." I was like, "Oh my goodness, I love him too,"
I will
but
jump on that train and I will make sure to put that hashtag on all the posts that we post for this interview. You're like, "You
and
guys,
then
I can't."
yeah. And then the second book is actually a little bit of the opposite as well. Lillian meets some new characters, and Henry is
Mhm.
one of them. And he was supposed to be just kind of like a little bit of support for him, a little bit of tension aboard the ship. And he ended up having more of a negative character arc than I planned,
Right.
and people did not
You're
like
like,
him.
"I don't know what's happening, but it's happening, you
Yeah,
guys."
which was the point. Yeah, and so that kind of morphed into he played a much bigger role in the climax of Stardust
Yeah.
than I planned, and he will be back in future books. So
Ooh, I'm actually excited. I love when I talk to authors and the characters they had originally planned in their head, it doesn't go that way when they write their book. And it ends up either, I mean, yeah, the fans, whether the fans didn't want it to happen or they did, there's some kind of reaction. So you know that, like, okay, regardless, this character had an impact on somebody,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's kind of like, that's a good, whether it's good or bad, it, it must be good. Okay, so this is a good transition to your series. So book one, From Stardust, and then book two, Stardust and the King's Sword,
Hmm.
takes readers on a thrilling ride. Can you share with us the inspiration behind your pirate-centered romantic fantasy? Because I have not read a pirate-themed book yet. So this was a first for me, and I loved it. Obsessed
Me
with it,
too.
actually.
I'm so happy to
Um,
hear that.
so what was your inspiration behind this theme?
Yeah, it took me 11 years to write this story, so some of the stuff in the beginning is very vague. And I don't remember what sparked the inspiration, but I do remember when it happened. I used to work at a daycare, and I was
Mhm.
sitting at the art table with a little girl, and she was coloring, and something must have happened around me. Maybe we were watching Little Mermaid or something, but it just popped up, and I was like, I need to get this down. So I grabbed a piece of scrap paper from the art table, and I'm sitting, I don't know if you've seen a
Oh my
daycare if you have kids,
gosh.
but they're so
Yes, yes.
little.
Yes.
I'm just sitting there and just writing away, and it looks like I'm coloring with the kids, so it worked out fine. But I was writing the whole first chapter.
Oh
Uh,
my
artist.
gosh.
Yeah.
That is well, so like fans of your books compare it. At least I also compared it to Pirates of the Caribbean, but with like a
Yes.
romantic twist. Is
Hmm.
that kind of, do you also feel like that's a possibly a inspiration, or you're just like, hey, if that's what you guys feel, then that's what you feel. That's cool with me.
I think it was a subconscious inspiration, because
Okay.
I love Pirates of the Caribbean and I watch it all the time. And when I would get into a slump with these books, I would put on Pirates of the Caribbean and just watch it. My
Yeah.
husband likes it too, so we just sit there and we watch all the movies and just trying to get like back in the mindset.
In the vibe.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, exactly. And again, there's not a lot of pirate books out there. They're getting more
Right.
popular nowadays, but when I was writing this one, I couldn't find anything
No.
remotely close to read, especially with a romance aspect to it. Most of them are young
Yes.
adult. Um,
Correct.
so yeah, I think just watching the movies so much made an impact for sure. It wasn't purposeful.
Yeah, because
But
when I was reading it and when I saw the cover, I was like, "Is this Orlando Bloom?" I was like, "That's who I'm gonna envision while I read this, is Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, and I'm gonna be fine with
and they
it."
do. They have very similar vibes. When people
Yeah.
started pointing out, I was like, you know what? It's like if Will kidnapped Elizabeth, and that's That's their characters.
A whole nother realm, right? If the story
Yep.
went a whole nother different route, this
Fanfic.
is like would be them. That's how when I read it, these were the characters I envisioned. And I was like, whether it's true or false, I don't care. This is how I see the story playing out. Did you always envision it to be a series, or was it always like, was it a standalone? I mean, you said you were it took you like 11 years to write
Yeah.
it. So I mean, was it a point where you were like, okay, this is the end of this book, and then I have to like cut it in half and make it a part two?
Yeah. So I'm very much a pantser versus a plotter.
Okay.
With these books, I didn't even have outlines. Now I have a vague outline when I start a new book, but it's again just fully vibes.
Yeah.
But I didn't have an outline with these. Excuse me. But I knew the ending to From Stardust before I knew
Okay.
anything else.
You're
So
like, I don't know how we're
yeah,
gonna get here, but
exactly.
this is the
This is
ending.
where we're gonna
This is what
leave
we're
it.
gonna.
So it's definitely always going to be a series. I wasn't sure how many books. I still don't know how many books. I know there's at least going to be one more. But yeah,
That's
it
exciting.
is.
What went into like crafting the lore behind the curse and the King's Sword? Like for me, okay, I really wish Tip was here too because she's like a writer. She is a writer herself. Fantasy is like her genre. She's obsessed with it. And
Fun.
she's really upset. And she's really upset that she couldn't be here because she had so many questions. But for me, as someone who I feel like I don't have the creativity to like write any of these books. So I'm always so intrigued by authors who can build this world, who can come up with these like with magic and oh my God, maps. I love a book with a map. Like give me the maps, help me get more
Yes.
involved. So like what went into crafting the curse, the King's Sword, just the world in general?
um, I mean the world itself, it's like the characters. It just kind of comes to me. Like I always knew, she wanted to start off in Aurelia. It had a different name in the beginning, but and then Atwood with the nobles and everything.
Hmm.
And then just kind of uh, again, back before computers were huge, so I had a piece of paper where I kind of just, and I'm a terrible artist, but I just drew like a vague circle, like this is going to be this island, and oh, now they have to go east. Let's put in a little island over here.
You're like, I need another paper to continue my journey,
I did.
actually. Tape it together to kind of like build your whole
Yes,
map.
yes, that's exactly it. So that's my world building. um, and I have to keep notes because I'm just like I'll think of things like when I'm in the story. I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna go visit this place. Well, this place needs to be known for something.
Hmm.
Okay, it can be a harbor with trees everywhere, that type of stuff. And so I'd have to
Yeah.
write it down to the side. Okay, arbor is for the tree place, and well, not
So that you
exactly,
remember
but
when you're, yeah. Do you
yeah,
still have all your like notes from that? Oh my
I
God,
do.
I love it.
Not all of them because they were obviously on paper and paper doesn't last 10 years very very well, but I have the original map and the original Lillian's character sheet when I was
Oh
writing
my
out her. Yeah, and
gosh.
it's funny finding it years later because I've moved at least 3 times since then. And I
Hmm.
was going back and I was like, "Oh man, I didn't even remember that was supposed to be part of her character arc, and it didn't end up making it in the book, but it was for the best." But I was like, oh, I didn't even like remember writing that about her.
It's kind of crazy to look back and to see where you are now with your story and with your
Yeah.
characters. You're just kind of like, okay, like this is
Yep.
where I started and this is where I am now.
Yeah, because again,
Um,
they just take over and they walk me through. So it's like, oh, you're gonna be afraid of water now? Okay, cool. Like, we're gonna have to weave that into
I
your background.
love that. Oh my God, I love that so much. I think I love that more. Not that there's anything wrong with authors that have it like complete like laid out, but I love when I speak to an author and they say that like the characters sort of just like take them on the journey themselves. And you're right, like your whole story could change based on like
Yes.
what your characters are going through at that moment. Um, because it feels more authentic and it feels more
Yeah.
like more involved. And when the reader is reading it, you're just like this, and it's so good. It's so
Like
good.
we're
You
we're
did,
going on the story too. We don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah. You're just like, I don't know how this is. I don't know. I know how it's gonna end. I don't know how we're gonna get there, but we're
Yeah.
gonna get there.
And From Stardust changed so much. Oh my goodness. Because like I said in the beginning, like things it's usually just like a specific scene that'll pop in my head.
Hmm.
And in From Stardust it was Kale and Lillian and Johnny. There was supposed to be a much bigger love triangle there. and that was gonna be, like,
Oh,
the whole point of contention of the book and the rivalry
right, right,
between Taylor
right.
and Johnny, which is still a little bit there, but it was gonna be so much bigger, and then I'm writing it, and Johnny just steps back. He's like, "No, I'm just gonna be, like, the flirtatious friend,
He is
and we're
like,
really
"You
good
go
at
do
that."
you. We're good. I don't want
Yeah.
people to hate me. Like, we're good."
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how well that worked out, but
I know. He's like, "We're good, we're good." Um, what is your favorite scene in book 2?
in book
I feel
2.
like every author yeah. Well, we can even do book 1 and book 2. I mean,
Yeah, I
in
wrote
both
both
books.
just in case, but
Yeah.
book 2, I have a lot more in book 2 that I like. It's just I think because I learned so much more about my writing in From
Mhm,
Stardust, and especially, working with my editor for the first time during From Stardust,
mhm.
it definitely helped my writing a lot, and so book 2 came out much more polished and, more exciting to me. So that
Yeah,
one I
you're,
was,
like,
excited for.
ready. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I have 2 favorite scenes in
Okay.
Stardust and the Kingsword. My I don't know, it's kind of a tie, but I really, really loved writing the scene where she runs into Doll and they have the tea
Yes.
with Maria, and just
Yes.
the banter back and forth where they're,
I
like,
love a
sending
good banter.
they're
I love
sending
a good
subtle,
banter.
like, context and subtle threats where, like, Maria's
Mhm.
not getting it because she's not part of it, but he's like, "I know what you're doing," and she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I loved that scene so much. It was just so much fun to write, and actually, that's one where it popped up before way before it was supposed to, and I was like, "I have to write I don't care if this is 200 pages in the future, I have to write it down right now."
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so I wrote it separate, and then when I got to that point, I just copy and pasted it back in, and I'm like,
You're
"Okay."
like, "This is it. This is perfect. I've been waiting to put this in there."
Yes, yep. I'm like, "Oh, we're
So
finally
so on the other hand, so that's your favorite, but what was, like, the
there.
hardest scene to write for you?
Hardest scene, I was thinking about this earlier, now I don't remember. I think the scene, which is also one of my favorites, but it was very difficult to write, was, where her and Kale get caught at the masquerade ball,
Okay.
by Doll, yeah, and, everything that happens in that, the sacrifice and
Mhm.
stuff, and, I just wanted to make sure I got it right, I got the emotions that came across from both of them,
Yes.
and, so I took a lot of time crafting that scene.
Oh my god. Do you have a lot of, because we've talked to a lot of authors and there's a like, one author told us, like, we asked them what their hardest scene was, and they're like, "Oh, we have, like, 20 revisions of chapter 1. Like, we rewrote it so many times." Um, do you have, like, a chapter where you're like, "I had to keep scrapping it because it just wasn't it. It wasn't what I was going for." Like, do you have a certain chapter or, like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
you can remember? You're like, "Oh, yeah, it's chapter this
Yep,
is the
from
death of me."
From Stardust, it was the beginning. I mean, like I said, I had that spark and I sat down and I wrote it all, but I changed it 20 times, so many times. And in the beginning, she had started out in the Desancel house, packing up for the trip that they were gonna go on, and
Mhm.
it was kind of an info dump, and I think because it was, like, in that moment, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know all these things all of a sudden, I need to dump it on this page."
Yeah.
So I reworked it a lot and then, ended up changing to, they had a whole scene, like, in the carriage that ended up getting cut, and when I talked with my editor and we were kinda revising it again, we went back to the Descensal house.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
is back where she started, a little bit different, but, you get a little more background there. So that one, yeah,
I
at least 20 times I
Oh
revised.
my god. That's crazy, and it's crazy because it's, like, the very beginning of the book,
Yep.
right? It's kinda, like,
Yeah.
setting the foundation of your character, but I actually enjoyed the first couple chapters of getting to know her, the prologue. I was like, "I need the prologue, it's, like, so important because if you don't read it, you're gonna not really fully understand."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought your first couple chapters were really well. I
Thank
thought
you.
you introduce everybody very well and you kind of got it or inside of like what's happening and how she is. But then also I was reading it, I was like, I want to get to it. Like,
I know,
when
I
are they
know.
gonna get on the ship? When is everything gonna happen? And then when it finally gets there, it's very exciting. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
we are here. Let's deal with these pirates. Like,
It's funny you say that,
yes.
especially with the prologue because, my betas in the beginning, they were, like, split down the middle. Half of them were like, "Yes, this is an awesome prologue, it needs to stay here."
Yeah.
And the other ones are like, "I think it hit better if she finds out with everybody else later." And so I was kinda torn, I was like, "You know what? I like when I'm reading to know
Mhm.
something that the character doesn't, and the whole time she's like, "Oh
Yes.
my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm not a noble, I'm gonna break their hearts." And you're like, "You are a noble. You just
Because
don't
when
know
it
it."
comes yeah, because when it happens, you're just kinda like it's like a secret that you knew, and you're
Yes.
just like, finally our character, like, knows, and, like, you're all on the same page now. You're just, like, right there with the character, and you're just like, "Let's get it, like, you got it." I
Yeah.
love a good prologue. We always Tiff and I always go back and forth of like, should we read a prologue? Should we not read a prologue? Sometimes we feel like the prologue is just like unnecessary. But sometimes we feel like it's very necessary. And I feel like for your books, it's very necessary.
Definitely was.
Yeah, definitely read the prologues, everybody, because you'll miss some, you'll be in the dark just
Is
like
there
her.
people that skip prologues out there? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's crazy to me.
Yes. There are people we talked about it with another author and people had comment. They were just like, "We skip the oh, I skip the prologue all the time." Or they're like, "No, I have to read the prologue." And so it's very like 50-50. It's
Oh my
weird.
goodness. That is
And so
crazy.
my sister and I go back and forth on the topic all the time. And um I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot of people skip the prologue.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, I feel like the prologue has a lot of information that we
yeah,
need in
supposed
order
to
to
anyways, but
understand. Yeah, that we're
yeah.
supposed to understand the story. My sister, she's big on Tip is like, if the prologue is like way too many chapters, she's like, sometimes I just like, I
I
can't
do get
handle
that.
it.
Yeah, if you're like if it's info dumpy, you're like, "Oh my goodness, this is like 5, 6 pages a chapter of
Yeah.
just like
You're like, this is
setting
already
up the
chapter one and
background."
two before
Yeah,
chapter one has even happened.
yep, yeah.
Okay, so book two, Stardust and the Kingsword, just came out on May 2nd.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
But we always know authors have more than one book brewing in their brains. So is there gonna be a book three or maybe a spin-off on a character?
Yeah,
I know you gave us a little bonus chapter at the end if everybody read it, because I know I did. I was like, I love a good bonus chapter.
yeah, I was
So what do
really
you got
excited
in the
about this
works?
chapter with Tamala in it. Yeah, there is gonna be a book 3, definitely. I gave book 2 a good ending, because
Mhm.
it's gonna be a while. I had another project that was kind of brewing in my mind that I was like, "I need to get to this first."
You need to
Um,
get this out of your
yeah.
brain.
So I gave it a good ending, so everybody's happy. There's no cliffhangers this time.
Yeah, it was a good ending. I was like I read it and I was like, "Ah, the end." And I was like, "Oh," I
Time.
was like, "Bonus, hold on." I turned, I was like, "It's a bonus, hold on."
But yeah, so I do already have the beginning of book 3, just the first like half a chapter written, and some of it planned out.
Oh.
But my main focus is on my new project right now, so I don't know when that will be finished.
Okay, but there will be a book 3.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know people authors have, like, a ton of books, like, going off in their
Yeah.
brain. So I love when we talk about, like, their newest book, but then I'm always like, "I know you got something else."
Yeah.
Like, you don't just got one brewing in there. Like, I know
No,
you've got
never, never.
something else. You're like,
And
"No, it's
I
nonstop."
don't know if you know, but my newsletter has. If you join my newsletter, there's a bonus story that you get immediately about Kid and how he joined the Stardust.
No, I will join your newsletter. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you for
real. It's a very
sharing.
short story, but
I
it's
love
really
it.
gets into his background. So
I love it. I love being highly invested in stories. My sister, she has her like book that she has and she let me read her little novella. She let me read it. And as soon as I was done, I texted her and I was like, "Are you going to do a spin-off off these characters? Or do you have a second book?" And she's like, "Kim,
I
it's a
need more.
novella." Yeah, she's like, "It's a novella. It's only 100 pages. Like, what are you talking about?" I was like, "You could do a novella series. Like, I think
Yep.
people would be down for that. Like, I need more characters." She's like, "You
Mhm.
get too heavily invested with characters."
Me too. Me too. I can't even read interconnected standalones sometimes because I'm like
I
one book is not enough to know these characters.
Yeah. I'm always like, "I need more. I'm sorry, I need more on, like, this random character that's only here for, like, 3 chapters." Like, how did they get there? And
Yeah.
I think that's what's beautiful, and that's, like, the magic of books, right? Is that your fans, especially readers, like, if you truly enjoy these books, you can get heavily invested
Oh
into
yeah.
the characters and the story. Like, my favorite thing to do is have my Kindle and freaking toss that thing because 'cause I'm, like, angry. I'm
I
either
can hold the
angry or
feelings.
I'm like, "Yeah." I love getting those emotions, and
Yeah.
I love it so much. And I think that I read both of your books within like a week.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was Yeah, no, my husband was like, he always asks me, he's like, how many pages is this one? I was like, this one's like 300. And he's like, oh, okay. I was like, but this is only book one. I have to read book. And he's like, why? I was like, you have to read them both.
Have
You
to.
can't. Yeah. Cause at first I started book two, right, by itself. And then I was like, no, I was like, stop. I think I stopped like 2 pages in. And I was like, stop. And then I went and saw you. I was like, book one is here. Download. I was like, let's start over from the beginning.
Gotta get to know everybody.
Yeah, because sometimes I know there are some series where you can read them as a
Mhm.
standalone or you can read them as a series, but this one I highly suggest you read book one and you read book
Definitely.
two. Okay, yeah, we're all on the same page. Okay, so getting into some personal reflection,
Mhm.
what's been the most surprising or touching feedback that you've gotten from your readers?
Oh my goodness. There's been so much. I mean, I didn't expect people to love it as much as they did. I mean, that's always the goal.
Yeah.
That's what you want as an author. You're like, I created this beautiful book baby, and I want everybody to experience the things that I do. But
Right.
it doesn't always work that way. And so I've gotten so many positive messages from everybody that have read it, especially beta and ARC readers and things.
Mhm.
And I think the biggest one, which isn't even specifically about the book, but one of my readers sent me a link to a signing event in her hometown and was like, I would die if you got to come here and I got to see you in person. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, for you to care so much that you took the time to send me that and let me know personally that you want to see
Oh.
me, it just like I still get all like emotional I was showing my family like, look what they sent me.
I love that because it's one thing just to like get your books out there and people read it and review it and you're like,
Yeah,
cool. But then for somebody to be like, what do we need to do for you to get out here
yeah,
and and do a book signing here?
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. No, the one thing I've loved about doing this podcast and this experience is meeting and talking to indie authors like yourself and falling in love with your guys' books. And I'm like, I don't get me wrong, I love my big name authors, the big name books, I love them.
Mhm.
But these indie books, you guys, your books, ARC books, all of it, they are so good. And I like will die on the hill and I will recommend all of your guys' books before I recommend any of these other books that you always see on like social media.
Yeah.
And I mean, because people, I mean, people don't realize that they're there. And it's like, no, these books are
Yep.
here and they are fucking good. Excuse my language. They are good. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, there's so much
And
more connection, I think, with the indies, and it's not even, the fault of the trend. They're just so big that they don't always, get the comments and the messages and everything.
yeah,
But yeah, they have the publishers behind them that are able to help with marketing and pushing things out, and indies don't. So we rely
yeah,
100% on our readers to be able to be like, "Oh, I read this and I enjoyed it. I think you will too."
yeah.
That's 100% of our marketing.
No, and I love it. And we love your guys' books. We love your books so much.
Thank
I
you.
am like currently, I don't know if you've ever seen Once Upon a Time.
Yes, yep, hooked.
Okay, so so I think a couple of episodes back, we were talking to one author and I don't know how, cause I don't know how it came about, but we somehow talked about Once Upon a Time and we were like obsessed with Hug. We went on a banter for like almost an hour talking about it. And I was like, after this episode, I'm going to like jump back on and watch Once Upon a Time. So right now I'm in like my Once Upon a Time TV series and I'm in the hook. Like he's there and
The
he's
best
like
one.
the Peter Pan fate. I was like, yes, I love it. And so when I read your books, I was like, I'm in the pirate phase. Let's put on Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's watch Hook. Let's read these books. Um, I love them so much. And like we mentioned earlier, I feel like there isn't a lot of,
Yeah,
I mean, I have not found any. So I think this was a nice like palette cleanser, if you will.
change, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like I've read all the same kind of tropes. I've read all the
yeah.
other books and sports romance. I love my sports romance, don't get me wrong. We do with dragons all the time, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but a nice, like, a pirates one, like, I'm down for it. Like, give me all the pirate stories, please. They're
Yes.
so good, and you can
Yeah,
do
they
so
are.
much.
It's a good mix of, like, adventure, I think, whereas, the
Yes.
dragon ones and all that, they have the high stakes and they have, the cool fantasy aspect, but it's not always exactly adventurous, and that's
Yes.
something that the pirates bring, to that.
Yeah, and I feel like with the pirates, you can explore the world a
Yeah.
lot more, and there's the lore of, um like treasures
Treasure
and
hunting, curses, yeah, all that
like
kind of
this is
stuff.
there, this is there, and it's like that's just a tale. Like, no, it's there. Like, let's go look for
It's
it. And
real.
yeah, and I think it was in the first book. There's a line that Kale says, and it's something where it's like, you think we're the villain because that's what you read, but like, we're not the villain. First of all, I was like, okay, sir, I know your hands are pressed up against that. You are like this close. So it's like hot, but also that line like hit me like so hard because it's like they're not always the villains. We just assume they are,
Yeah,
right? Because they
yeah,
have like what they love to do, but he's so, he has his family there, his
mhm.
crew, and there's more to him. So I that line like really stuck with me. I
I do,
really
I love
loved
that
it.
part.
It was really and it kind of helps, like, put the foundation of his character, right? You're
Yeah,
just kinda
yeah.
like, "Okay, this is who he is," and, I so it was like a mix of Orlando Bloom and Hook from Once Upon a Time. That's, like, the combination I got.
That's a good combination, I like that. So he was loosely based on Hook, from Once Upon a Time, because I love him so much, I love his character and his character arc and, his banter,
Yeah.
which I think when I think about it, it's like I split him between Johnny and Kale, like, Kale got his more serious episodes
Mhm.
and character arc, and then Johnny got all his banter and, like, silliness.
What is one message you hope your readers can take away from your series?
Um I hope that they take away that there's a place for everybody in this world, and
Yeah.
the whole first book is focused on Lillian finding her place, realizing that
Mhm.
she doesn't just have to be a maid and at everybody's beck and call. She's a person too,
Yeah.
and so I hope readers feel like there's a place for everybody, and if they haven't found it yet, then they will.
Oh, I love that. Character do you, I mean, is it, um your main female character, is that who you relate to the most in this book?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I do think I relate to Lillian the most.
Mhm.
I just think she is more of a softer FMC, which you don't see a lot right now either. Nobody
Yeah.
likes the feisty, stubborn ones, which she has a little bit of
That
that too.
yeah.
She leads with kindness first, and I really admire that about her and connect with her over that.
Yeah, same. I liked her character. She's, like, just all around, like, good person. Like, I feel like you wanna be friends with her,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Very easy to do. You just be like,
Yeah,
"Come
I
here, let's
really
hang out. We'll go do something. What do you want to do?"
like, "What do you wanna do, girl? I'm down. Whatever you wanna do, just I'll tag along. Like, you're so cool." That's how I feel. I feel like she could be a friend.
Hmm.
And I think that's great too, that you're able to write out a character so well that your readers can relate to your characters, or if not relate, they feel like they can be friends with your characters. So I love that. I think you did such a great job with your
Thank you.
books, with your storyline, with your characters, the worlds that you built. I think you did so well. So congratulations
Thank you so much.
on your debut books. Okay, so before we wrap up, I just have some rapid questions I want to ask you, a little this or that. Okay, so for if your series was being adapted into a movie or TV show, who would you cast as Kale and Lillian?
um, I think Kale would be the one who plays Hook from Once Upon a Time. I
Yeah.
can't remember his actor name right now. All of a
It's
sudden,
like, oh, I see it every time I watch it.
I
Oh,
know.
I
Yeah.
can't remember it either, but I know who
Um,
you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, and I definitely think he'd be good. Obviously, probably because he was loosely based on him. But for Lillian, there was a show recently that I watched that was like, oh, she'd make the perfect Lillian. What was it? Oh my goodness, I can't remember right now. It was the one that only got one season. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like almost like a rain feeling, Victorian era, but people
Okay.
could morph into animals too. My goodness, I can't remember the name right now.
Is it My Lady Jane?
Yes, My Lady Jane. That was
Yes.
it. I love that so much. I'm so
Hashtag
sad
Save
it's not
My
coming
Lady
out.
Jane. Oh my
Yes.
god, hashtag Save My Lady Jane. We did an episode, I think it was like back in season 1 of our podcast, where we talked about the book and the series, and we are obsessed with the show, and we are
Me
so
too.
upset that they never picked it up for another season.
Yeah, me too. I'm heartbroken. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed that,
the one
but
she would be so good
I think she would just,
as
not only
yes,
the way that
Lillian.
she looks, but, her mannerisms and everything, I think she would be perfect.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. No, we love My Lady Jane. I loved that show. So good. It was so good. And I was so, so mad that there was not
Yeah,
another season
me
afterwards.
too.
As soon as you said there's only one season, and then you said they transform into animals, I was like, oh, I
You're like, "I know
know
what
what
it
you're
is." Thank
I know
goodness, 'cause I've been like, "Wow, where are you over here?" I was about to give up.
what is your current or your last read?
I just finished actually Full Measures by Rebecca Yarros. My coworker
Okay.
suggested it to me, and it was good. I didn't know actually until today that that was her debut novel, and it
Oh,
was
wow.
really
I didn't
good.
know that either.
Have you read it?
No.
Yeah, it's really good. It's got. I mean, I love angsty books, and her stuff. The few that I read so far, are just full of it, and that one was definitely very angsty. Yeah, it
Ooh.
was good. I finished it in 2 days, so I
I
would
love
definitely suggest
that.
it if you
What
like.
is it called? Let me add
Um,
it to my TBR
yeah, let me add it.
because
It's full measures.
okay.
That yeah, that's
Yes.
my most
Adding to
recent
my
one.
TBR. I every time we do these episodes, my TBR just gets longer and longer because I always ask people what they're reading, and I'm like, that sounds good. Hold on, let me just add it on here. What is your okay? So I figure your all-time favorite TV show is Grey's Anatomy.
Yes,
True. Okay.
yes,
So what
absolutely.
is your all-time favorite movie?
Oh my goodness.
Like the
Probably.
one that's like whenever it comes on, you're just like, I love this movie. Yeah, and you just watch it. You don't care how many times you've seen it.
I would probably say there's so many that I like, but I think my favorite all time would be Gone with the Wind. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's a really
Yes.
old one,
No, I
but
love
yeah, I
that.
grew up watching that, and I know it's 3 hours, but I'll watch it all the time.
Oh, I love that. I haven't seen that in such a long
It's been a
time.
while now that I think about it since I actually sat down and watched it too.
She's like, when you're done, she's like, we're gonna watch Gone with the Wind for bed before we go to bed, okay? That's what we're gonna watch.
We'll go to bed late.
You're like, it's okay. I want to watch it. It's been a while. It's been actually a really long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
That's actually a really good movie too.
that's
Classic.
such a good movie.
Definitely a good classic. Okay, so found family or blood family?
Found Family, 100%.
Yeah, I figured. Slow burn or fast?
It depends on my mood. I think I would usually pick slow burn if I had to, but I like both.
Yeah, same. We always talk about like we like a little like mild, a little medium burn.
Yeah.
Just like turn up just a
I don't
little
want to read
bit.
3 books, but maybe not 2
Yes,
pages either.
seriously. Okay, romance novel or mystery novel?
Romance.
Enemies to lovers or friends to lovers?
Enemies to lovers. I like the angst and
Same.
tension.
Me too. I mean,
Gotta
I
build
am
that up.
obsessed with the good enemies to lovers. I love it so much. I love when there's that feeling of just and the banter. I love a good
Yes.
banter. Standalone or series?
Series.
Series.
Absolutely.
What is your this is like off topic now, but what is your favorite book series that you've read? Or if you have a couple, like what are some of your favorite book series?
Yeah, I think right now I'm obsessed with the Wolf Hotel series, which is a contemporary
Okay.
billionaire series, and yeah,
Ooh.
it's so good. There's so much angst in it. That I actually just re-listened to it because she's releasing a side story in June, so I was like, I gotta re-listen to everything to get ready for the new
Wait,
story.
what is it called? Let me hold it. What is it called? What's the
It's
series?
the Wolf Hotel series, and it's extremely spicy. So just
I
so
love
you're
a
aware.
good spice. No, I do not mind. Do
It's
not get me
yeah, I
wrong.
there's so much that I love about that.
Ooh,
And
the
then
hotel series.
fantasy, I mean, ACOTAR is
Add,
always gonna be top tier,
yeah,
mostly A
you're
Court
like
of
straight up
Mist
there.
and Fury, yeah. But I know that's kind of basic. I love Vampire Academy too, which is an older one.
Okay, I
It's a
have not
YA.
read.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's so good. It's so good because it's like, oh, it's vampires, but it's not. She has a really good spin on the vampire structure. There's
Hmm.
like this whole political hierarchy that she has. It's really good.
There's like more to it than just like
Yeah.
the vampires. I love that too. Going back to the wolf hotels.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I will talk about it
No.
all day.
Okay, so I've seen, I think it's Tempt Me is the first one.
Yes. Tempt me
I
is the
feel like I always see that on my Audible.
yeah.
It's always like recommended.
I think it might
It's always
be
like recommended for me to read, and I never do.
yeah.
I
They
love
were
that.
free on Audible for a little while. I don't know if they still are.
Yeah. I
The
just
Audible is
remember,
very good.
I love a good Audible.
Audiobook, not the Audible. The audiobook is very good.
Yeah,
Um,
I love it. I love being at work and listening to a good Audible, and I'm just
yep,
like, don't mind what I'm listening to.
exactly. I work 9 to 5, so I'm like, man, I can just sit there with my headpiece in and just ignore everybody else.
Oh yeah, it's gotten to the point where like I stopped using my like AirPods and I have to use like my wired my wired headphones
Just
because
to
I'm
make
just
sure.
like yeah, I'm like a little like I'm like
Yep,
hold on, I don't
yeah.
want everybody to hear what I'm listening to.
It's so funny too because my coworker, she came over one time and she was like, "You read books, right?" And I have no idea like how she figured it out, but she did. And I was like, "Yeah, I read books." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I just started reading again after like forever." And so we started a conversation. And she came over a couple
Yeah,
weeks later and she's like, "Do you have any recommendations?" I don't remember. She asked for something specific, and I was like, "The Wolf Hotel. Check that one out." I forgot to even ask if she was okay with spice, and I'm like, "That is." You better be, because I
she
was
comes
so
back at you. She comes back to you. She's like, I did not expect you this from you. Like
yeah.
what?
Yeah, exactly. It
No,
was
I love a good spice. I've like I will listen. Like I stopped using my AirPods. I think I saw like a post and somebody like made fun of it, and I was like, "No, this is like a serious. Like I have to use a wired headphones because I get so nervous." But then sometimes I'll like take my wired headphones out and I'll like kind of put it down and just be like, "Can I hear my
yeah,
headphones?"
I do the
I'm
same thing. Like, if I know it's
I
leading up,
get
I'm like, let's
I
make sure
get
nobody
because I'm in a cubicle, right? So I'm like, can you hear? Can you hear
Yep.
what I'm? No, okay. Let's finish the story then. Or like if I like jump in my car and I'll just like I might keep playing it and I'll get home and then my husband and I will jump back in and it just like pops back up and he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, don't judge me. I just like
We
pause.
listen and we don't judge.
Yeah, I was like, I'm here for the plot. Okay, the plot's actually really good, so don't judge.
Yep.
There's good character arc. Do not judge. Just let me be. And he's like, we're not listening to this. I'm like, don't worry, we're not together. Pause. Take myself off the Wi-Fi. Like, no, we're not listening to
Turn
this.
off your Bluetooth and
Yeah, I'm like, no, this is like for me, my time.
yep.
Okay.
Don't even want to have a conversation about it.
The only time you'll ever know about it is if it becomes a movie, and then you'll have to watch it with me.
Yep.
That's the only time. Which is a lot. There's a lot of books turning into movies now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was telling him, I was like, you're going to have to watch a lot of these movies with me because I need somebody to talk to. And he's
Yep.
like, I haven't read the book. I was like, that's
You
perfect.
don't
Cause
have to.
I was like, I want to know your perspective. Somebody who hasn't read the book, like, what did you think of this? Because it's hard when you read a book and you've watched the movie, you
Yeah.
have kind of a high standard or
hmm
you're
No
hoping
preconceived notions. Yep.
yeah. Do you have a book that's been adapted that you love or that you were just kind of like, this was shit? Like, you guys really dropped the ball on it.
I mean, there's a lot that were really bad. I think honestly, so Vampire Academy, the first one was turned into a movie, and it was like fan funded, and the
Hmm.
author really fought to work with a director that made sure she had input, and I think it turned out really great. I think it ended up tanking, and they didn't make any more, but I think went back to the advertising. They kind of advertised
Hmm.
it. As more of like a preppy high school movie, and it's very far from that.
You're
I don't
like,
know
you guys
why.
need to redo this trailer, like
Yes, everything, the
revamp it up.
posters, the trailer. I mean, there's a lot of like witty banter and
Hmm.
funny things throughout it, and so they threw that in the trailer, which was nice. But I don't know, the way they framed it was like I think only
If you didn't read this book series, you
you'd
wouldn't.
never go watch it. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no.
But I think it was cast so well, and that always makes a huge difference. Like even if they cut
Yes.
out some things, if the cast was really well put together,
Yes.
and that one was so.
Okay.
One of the few.
What is it? It was a TV show or it was a movie?
So it was a movie, and then they pivoted. I think somebody got the rights, and they made a TV show, and we don't talk about that.
Oh,
It was not good.
2014 horror comedy.
Yeah,
Oh, it
it
looks like it could be on like Disney Plus almost.
yeah, I think it's Peacock, and it's if you don't read the books and you watch that show, it's good. It's good as a show that has
Uh-huh.
nothing to do with the book.
Right. But if you're
So
like a hardcore fan of the books, you're like,
yeah,
no, just imagine it yourself.
yeah. So I waited, like you said, 2014 that came out. I just watched it like
Yeah.
6 months ago, and so I went in knowing like, okay, this is not the book I read, but we're gonna watch it anyways, and it was good. It was entertaining.
So
Just
2014 was the movie, 2022 was the TV series.
oh, okay,
Yes.
yeah,
The
that makes
TV
more
series
sense.
is good or bad, or the movie was
The movie was good. The TV
okay.
series was not compared to the book, but it's good
Oh,
on its own.
interesting. And there's only one season. So, I
Yeah,
mean, what does
they
that
got
tell you?
canceled.
Oh, man. Interesting. I have to add that to our list to do that because I'm really interested now.
It's a really good book series, and the movie was good.
Okay, great. Well, we're gonna have to add it. My sister's gonna be like, what are we doing? I'm like, we're gonna
Why?
do
Why
this.
are you adding things?
I was like, we're gonna do an episode. I was side note, I was planning our June and July episodes and she finally came in and saw the notes. She's like, Kim, what are you doing? This doesn't I thought, what are we I was like, please stop. I was like, just let it be. I was like, in August, it's your birthday month. We're going full Lord of the Rings. That's just for you.
Oh,
And
how
she's like,
fun.
she was like, okay, then I'm okay with it. She's like, as long as August we do all Lord of the Rings. I was like, we are, don't worry. It's like her all-time favorite movie and series. And
That's
she's been
awesome.
like, she's like, if we had to do Harry Potter for you, we have to do
Lord of
Lord of
the
the
Rings.
yeah. I was like, okay, we'll do Lord of the Rings. And which I've never read the book series. I've never read Lord of the Rings. And I remember watching, I think maybe the first movie when it first came out, and then I never after that. So she was like, oh, we're gonna have like a marathon.
You sit down and get this done.
Yeah, she's like, you're gonna sit and you're gonna watch and you're gonna take notes and you're gonna fall in love.
And
I
then you guys
was
watch
like,
The Hobbit.
I probably will because I feel like my taste, especially with doing this podcast, my taste in like story and books and movies have changed so much. It's like more open. So I was like, I probably will actually be obsessed with the series.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see
that's
though.
her goal.
It is. It is her goal. She's trying to like convert me, so we'll see. Um Okay, so that's a wrap on today's episode. A big thank you to you, Megan, for sharing your world building, your writing insights, and fun personal reflections with us. Be sure to check out From Stardust and Stardust and the Kingsword, both now available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. They are a must read for fantasy lovers. Before we go, Megan, where can our listeners find you on social media? What is your tag? Where can people spam you, find you, DM you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, TikTok is just Meagan Kaye, and it's Meagankaye, a little bit different spelling. And then Insta is Meagan K Writer.
Perfect. And we will definitely make sure to tag you and add all that into our episode so everyone can easily just click you so they can find you. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Official Page to Picture to keep up with everything book related, movie adaptations, and more. On our Instagram, you'll find our link tree, which includes all our podcasts, guest signups, and our new merch that we just launched. See you guys next time for more book to screen goodness. Thank you. Thank you, Megan, so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.